Gonna get started. Good evening. Thanks for joining me. If you're on Facebook, please invite your friends and share this video so they can grab hold of this quick nugget that I'm going to share tonight that you can begin to immediately implement. So that I know you're here, drop an emoji, a comment, say hey. If you in fact want to write a book, let me know that in the comments as well. If you're new, I am Tiffany Huff Struthers. I am the founder of the Tiffany Huff Experience, and I help women move from setback to impact and share their stories to make major impact. And so I wanted to come on tonight and talk a little bit about writing a book, specifically for those of you who have been saying or who have said that you want to write a book. I get millions and millions of questions and messages and inquiries, and the number one question during consultations is, what tips do you have for someone who wants to write a book, right? Where do I start? How do I begin? How do I know if I'm doing it right? Multiple variations of this question. And generally speaking, no one likes the response that I give. But the reality is, if you want to write a book, you have to write. Plain and simple, you have to write. And especially if you are not someone who is already a writer, if you don't write consistently every day now, the best place for you to start is to begin writing every day. If you aren't a journaler, get yourself a notebook, get yourself a journal. If you prefer to type, then start a fresh Google Doc and open it up every day, pick a time and write. And don't think, here's the challenge that I find people have with this response, because we think that when we decide, or even when God says, you know, you're called to write a book, that when you decide to sit down and make the time to write, you are going to literally write a bestseller in one sitting. Like, it's just going to go down. The moment you commit to doing what God has told you to do, or what you've decided you're going to do, everything is going to be fine, and you're just going to write and write and write. And when you sit down and that does not happen, it can be discouraging. So I want you to have the foresight to know, whether you are starting the journey for the first time or you are doing this for the umpteenth time, that you may not begin to write the book or the story that you intend to write when you start to write. In the beginning, you are writing to develop a habit, right? It's kind of like when you start to train for a marathon. If you've never run before, besides trying to catch the bus or in the bakery trying to make sure someone doesn't buy the last donut, right? If that's the only running you've ever done, then you have to build up to being able to run. And that means being able to run for a minute before you can even consider running for hours to run a 26-mile marathon, right? So the same is true, excuse me, when you start to write. You have to build up the muscles. You have to get the endurance. And that means you need to begin to write. So if you sit down and you say you want to write and you feel like nothing is coming out, then it is likely because you have a preconceived notion about what is supposed to come out. Hey, on Facebook, leave an emoji or a comment so I can see who you are. It's likely because you have a preconceived notion about what you expect you are going to write. You have to simply commit to writing and writing every day. And this is why. So I've always written, right? I probably have been writing since I was able to hold a crayon or anything else. I can't remember a time when I did not write. So for me, the process has been a little bit different. However, there's a difference even between journaling and writing every day, right? Especially if you're writing for a specific purpose. But what happens when you get into the habit of writing every day is you start to get clarity. That's number one. And when you get clarity, then you are better able to break through what I consider the myth of writer's block. Because if you have something on your mind, then you have something to write. Maybe it's not what you want to write, but it's what is necessary to be written so that you can get to what you want to write. So consistency brings you clarity, right? And once you get that clarity, what happens is you begin to develop a habit. You begin to become consistent. And then you build up what is necessary for the endurance, for the journey, for the long haul. And so one of the things that happened for me at the beginning of my journey was I started a blog. Right? So if you're writing every day, when you start to write consistently, then you can consider starting a blog, and you can transition from your blog to a book. Is this a necessity? No, but it is a process. And if you employ this process, then you will see progress along the way. So for me, I started my first blog in 2011. And that's right. And at the time, I knew then I was going to be an author. I didn't know what I was going to write a book about. I had all of these ideas, but I knew that I needed to begin to write consistently. And I knew that I did not need to wait until the book was written to share what I had to share. So the first blog I started was called Scenes from a Single Mom. And I wrote very consistently so that I had content to post on that blog. It helped me build up my writing muscles for content that people were going to be consuming, and to begin to be able to transparently share my story and my truth to build community and to impact others. Now, again, that was in 2011. It evolved into several other blogs, but what happened because of my consistency and because I developed that habit and that endurance is that other people were encouraged, right? And even though it was not the first book that I wrote, it has since become a book. And a book that not only I am a contributing writer to, but that other women are contributing writers to. And it is a series of books. So this is the first volume. The second volume of the book will be published in August of this year. And so I share this because I want you to know that there is a process, right? And that you don't have to believe that you have to go from A to Z. There's a journey you can go on if you will begin to write first and build up that consistency, build up the commitment to being able to write. And then if you are ready to share what you have to share with the world, you can start a blog. And when you start a blog, what you do is you build up the audience for those who will be anticipating the book that is to come. And you also build community, right? You could also build up contributing authors for your blog. So it is about the build up. It's not always about how quick can I write this book and everybody's becoming an author and all of this buzz. You have to build up to whatever it is that you want to do. And I want to encourage you to embrace the process because it is challenging, right? It is very challenging. And I wanted to come on and share this tonight because I have found that people think that the decision to write a book is a magic pill. It is not. It is writing is a craft. It is a skill. It has to be practiced. It has to be honed. And it's something you have to commit to. So when, like I said, if you start to write every day, you're going to get clarity. You're going to build up that consistency. Excuse me. And then once you get that clarity and you build up the consistency, what is going to happen is you'll be more willing to commit to the process because you'll be able to see your progress over the time frame that you have begun to write. And then if you start to blog, then you have an audience of people who you are committed to beyond being committed to yourself and wanting to write a book, right? And then you can parlay your blog into a book so you have a built-in audience. You know what I mean? Because even after you write the book, there is work to be done to get the book in the hands of other people. So if your purpose is not only to share your story, but to share your story to make an impact, then the transition from writing in your journal to blogging and then into a book might be a good path for you because you build both your community and your writing skills simultaneously without any pressure, right? You're doing it to build up your endurance. You're also doing it to build up your audience, but you're taking the readers on your writing journey with you as you share whatever content you share, whatever your subject matter is, wherever you are an expert, you are taking everyone along on your journey. And it is a beautiful, beautiful journey to go on. The challenge, however, is to shift your perspective, right? We live in a right now society. We live in a culture where instantaneously you can pick up your phone and see 1,000 people became authors yesterday, and everybody is doing all of the things. But you have to take a step back and make the declaration that this is what you are going to do. And then you have to make the commitment to doing the work. And it starts with writing. It starts with writing every single day. And one of the greatest challenges with writing every day is the time commitment that is required, right? Because you have to commit to writing. And I'm not saying you have to write for 3 hours every day. But if you are somebody who is already doing the most, deciding to write a book, you have to decide that writing this book is one of the most important things for you. And that means you need to do a reevaluation of your time. Just like a doctor, you know, after they go to medical school, they have to go into a residency. They have to commit to daily doing the things that it takes to become a doctor. The same is true for writing a book. And maybe it won't be as many hours, right? Because they don't even sleep. I don't encourage you to take on that mindset, but I want you to consider the consistency and the commitment that is required on this journey. It's not something that is going to happen overnight if you do not write at all. And so you have to look at where you are simply spending your time and consider where you are going to start to invest your time, what you need to take away so that you have the time available to do what it is that you are committing to do, right? So this is the season of the 2019 do-over, right? Everybody is saying the year of January is over, that the do-over of 2019, the new year of 2019 has finally started. And if that is you and you are ready to commit to writing your book, you're ready to develop the habit of being a writer, and you are saying to yourself, when am I going to find the time to do that, then I encourage you to join me next Monday, February 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the free virtual workshop, Reclaiming My Time. This workshop is for you if you are doing the most and you need to get clarity about what is most important and make the commitment so that you don't start 2020 saying, I need a do-over. I'm going to write the book. I said I was going to do it last year, but I didn't have the time. If this is what you are committing to, if this is your priority, then you have to be purposeful in the way that you invest your time so that you can commit to this writing journey and move from whatever setback you've had that's kept you from doing it in the past to making an impact this year. It is possible. It doesn't have to take years and years and years. What it takes is for you to commit to being consistent in your writing process. So if you are interested, you want to sign up for the virtual workshop on Instagram, the link should be in my bio. I will also add it to the comments. On Facebook, the link to register for the workshop is in the video description. It is not specifically for people who want to write a book. It is for anyone who has something they have been committing to over and over and over again. Specifically, you committed to for 2019 and January has come and gone and you have not made any moves. You've been doing everything but what you said you were going to do. If that is you, it's a no judgment zone. I welcome you to come get these nuggets, get these jewels so you can get out in these streets and do what you need to do. Okay? So I will, like I said, put the link for the video in the comments on Instagram. It's already there on Facebook. I am open to any questions that anybody has, either about the writing process to write your book or what might be discussed during the virtual workshop on Monday. And again, in case you missed it, it is free $99, but you must RSVP using the link to get the access information. So be sure that you do that. And that link is bit.ly/doover, DOOVER, or excuse me, bit.ly 2019 do-over, and then the number 1. So bit.ly 2019 do-over 1, Monday, February 11th at 8 p.m. So I am going to put that link in the comments while I wait to see if anybody has any questions. And then I'm going to very quickly recap what I had to say. And I will see y'all tomorrow in these internet streets. Okay, so very quickly, look, that's the wrong link. Bear with me. Very quickly, I want to recap my points. So number 1, if you really want to write a book, if you are committing to the process to write a book this year, you need to consistently write. That means you need to start writing every single day, right? As you begin to write consistently, you will not only begin to develop a habit, you will gain clarity about what it is you are purposed to write. And when you gain that clarity, when you begin to see momentum, you are more likely to make the commitment and have the ability to break through writer's block. If the idea of writing a book overwhelms you, even though you know it's something you are purposed to do, when you begin to write consistently, you can consider writing a blog first. If you write a blog first, you will build community and have an audience already anticipating your book. That is what I did. If you missed the beginning of the video, I encourage you to go back and listen to the beginning that talks about the journey from blog to book. It is a process that may be more appropriate for you to embark upon. If you need to work through the timing and the scheduling of writing daily consistently, then you are invited to join me in a group of amazing women on Monday, February 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the first of a 3-part workshop series for 2019, the do-over, called Reclaiming My Time. And if you are on Facebook, that link is there. On Instagram, it will be in the comments and in my bio. Thank you for joining. If you happen to have questions after the video, or if you're watching the replay, feel free to shoot me a DM and I will get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. All right, have a good evening, and I will chat with you all tomorrow. And let's see if I can get y'all this link in the comments. There we go. There we go. Good night.